Hello and welcome to Unpicking Cloud Lock-in with Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager, sponsored by Wasabi Technologies. I'm your host, Kenna Johnson from the Channel Company. Today we're going to take a look at Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager and learn how it can help customers get out of high-cost storage and eliminate ongoing egress fees. Here today we have David Bolin, Vice President of Cloud Strategy at Wasabi Technologies. Let's start with segment 1, the importance of cloud storage. Why is cloud storage so critical for your customers?
All right, that's a great question. Thank you, Kenna. So for the past 10 to 15 years, customers have become burdened with their storage environment. It starts with on-prem storage growing out of control, difficult to manage, expensive, and time-consuming. And so customers look to the cloud to provide an alternative to on-prem storage. There's reasons for that. One, cloud storage should be less expensive than your on-prem storage. It's a lot easier to manage because somebody else is doing the management and scalability for you. And lastly, by keeping your data in a remote location or remote region, you help protect against any kind of natural disasters or human error on-prem, or any kind of ransomware type of attack. So keeping your data in cloud storage has become a preferred solution for thousands and thousands of customers worldwide.
What new challenges do your customers face?
Great question. So there's always, so in the past few years, we've seen a lot of challenges with regards to security and ransomware. One of the challenges that people face today is data grows. So you may start with a small amount of data in the cloud, but it grows year after year, and people do not like to delete their data and to keep it as long as possible because you never know when you're going to need it. There may be compliance reasons, but also in the back of your mind, you say, someone's going to ask for this data, and so I don't want to delete it. And in that case, it grows and grows and grows, and it gets to the point where it's quite large. And if you want to get that data back, it becomes expensive. So the first generation of cloud storage providers made it free for you to upload your data to their cloud. But in order to get your data back, you have to pay egress fees or retrieval fees or API get requests. And the more data you need to get back, the larger that bill becomes. So the challenge is if I'm backing up to the cloud and I need to recover or restore my data, I'm going to be faced with an egress bill for that. If it's expensive, then I may choose not to do a practice restore if my data is up in the cloud. If you're going to back your data up to the cloud, and you want to make sure that data is good and available for you if you need it, it's common sense that you would do a practice restore once a quarter, once a year at least. And if you put that back up or you put your data in the wrong cloud, it becomes expensive to get it back out and do those practice restores. So the challenge is, one, security, and two, the cost associated with getting your data out of the clouds.
Let's move to segment 2, Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager. What is Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager?
That's great. So Wasabi saw that there is a need for customers to be able to get their data back out of the large hyperscalers, AWS, Azure, Google, or anything that's S3 compliant from the cloud storage provider perspective. The cost associated with that I just mentioned can be expensive to get that data out. If you're going to egress your data in, let's say, use North America as an example, from AWS back to on-prem or to another location, often you're going to do that over the internet connection. And the internet connection out of AWS is the most expensive. It's about 9 cents a gigabyte, which is $90 a terabyte to get your data back. Therefore, there's a cost associated with that, and that's a hurdle to overcome. What Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager does is it's a tool that allows our customers to move data between clouds from AWS, Azure, Google, or any S3 compatible storage system into Wasabi using Wasabi Compute, Wasabi Network, and we lower the overall cost for customers to move their data from other clouds to Wasabi. As I mentioned, it's 9 cents a gigabyte or $90 a terabyte if you're going out over the internet yourself. With Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager, we can cut that price down to less than half of that cost, about half of that cost. Also, Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager cloud-to-cloud migration feature is a portal. It's an all-in-one self-service portal where our customers can go sign up, create an account, and use that portal to migrate the data themselves. There's no software to load. There's no compute to spin up. There are no licensing fees for third-party software. So it's really a self-service, easy to use, cloud-based portal to help customers move their data from other clouds to Wasabi.
Now, I know you touched on this, but let's dive a little bit deeper. How did the challenges inspire the creation of Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager?
The thousands and thousands of customers that we have, a lot of them have been using Wasabi as their hybrid cloud solution, meaning that they have on-prem storage and they have some cloud storage, and they mix and match where they put their data, right? So it's a hybrid cloud story. We've had plenty of customers and channel partners come to us and say, hey, I've got a customer, or if I've got friends or myself, I've got an account in another cloud. I'd love to move it to Wasabi. I don't know how to do that because technically it's difficult. I don't have the connections, the network connections to do it in a quick and painless manner. And thirdly, I don't have the cost, the money to pay for the cost to migrate that. So what can you do for us, or can you give us some ideas on how we can move our customers' data from one cloud to Wasabi, or sometimes on-prem to Wasabi? And enough customers came to us and said, hey, what can we do? And so our engineers and our product management team sat down and created Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager. First iteration of Cloud Sync Manager we announced earlier this year, and that was to help our customers copy data from one region to another within the Wasabi world. So if you had a Wasabi account and your data was being stored on the East Coast of the US, and you said, I'd like to have a second copy of that, and I want to store it in a different region, say the West Coast, you would use Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager to do that region to region replication. Then we're like, well, this is a great tool. A lot of customers doing bucket replication in Wasabi. Is there a way that we could do migration using this tool? And our engineers sat down and said, yeah, absolutely. We can do this really painlessly by creating a source bucket or a source account in other cloud service providers, a destination bucket in the Wasabi region, and then use this tool to migrate data. So it seemed as a natural extension for Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager that our customers have been looking for a couple of years.
How does Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager help simplify operations?
What happens now is that the Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager is an all-encompassing self-service portal, which means that we've done the work for the customer. They go to the portal, they log on, they create a username and password, they create their account, and there is no additional software to run. You don't have to load software on-prem. You don't have to move software into your AWS Azure or Google account, and you don't have to add any new software to your Wasabi account. It's really as simple as point and click. So you go, you create your account, and then you add to that account your source accounts, which could be again, AWS Azure, Google, or anybody else that's S3 compliant. You add your destination account information, which would be your Wasabi region, your Wasabi account, and the Wasabi buckets. And then you choose whether or not you want to fully copy all of your buckets from other clouds to Wasabi, or using object prefixes, you can choose to send just specific data from other clouds to Wasabi. It is it's very lightweight from a usage perspective. You don't have to have a computer science degree. All you have to really do is understand your username and password, your account information for other clouds, your account information for Wasabi, and then you do need your security key, your access key for your accounts. And the nice thing about this really is that it's because it's self-service, you don't need to turn over your account information to anybody else. So, for instance, I don't want to know what your security key and access key is for your AWS accounts. I don't want that information. You shouldn't want to give that information to anybody. So you create your own account, you use your own source key and access key, and then you don't have to worry about security by giving up your account information. So self-service portal, easy to use, easy to understand.
How does it eliminate cloud storage billing surprises?
Great question. So one of the reasons why customers have been interested in and asking for a cloud-to-cloud migration tool like this is because traditionally the hyperscalers, the first generation cloud storage providers, have a bunch of hidden fees and hidden charges that customers are either surprised by on a monthly basis, irritated by, or annoyed by, and they don't want to see those additional charges. It's not just the storage that you're being charged for on a monthly basis from most cloud providers. There's also, as I mentioned, the egress charges, and you and I never know exactly how much data we're going to egress every month, so that's a surprise. Some months it may not be that bad. Some months it may be a nightmare that you have to go and explain to your CFO why the AWS bill is so large. So there's always an AWS bill surprise at the end of the month. It's not just egress, but it's data retrieval charges. Some of the different tiers, if you can figure out which tiers your data is sitting in and the differences between them from a pricing and security or performance perspective, there's different charges for those tiers. Some tiers have data retrieval charges, which are different from your egress charges. So you could pay the egress charge and a data retrieval fee. Plus, on top of that, you have operations charges, which most people call API request charges or operations charges. That's the charge to get your data back. Actually, that's the charge just to ask to get your data back. So your API, your application programming interface charges could be, it's not that great, but they are annoying. So you have egress charges, retrieval fees, API request fees, there's data movement fees. If you're moving data between regions on multiple clouds, within the cloud to multiple regions, you have transit charges or transport charges. There's half a dozen to a dozen charges that people get every month. They're a complete surprise. Now, that being said, Wasabi doesn't have those charges. With Wasabi, you have one bill and one charge, and that's the amount of storage that you use for that last 30 days or that last year, depending on your purchasing type, pay-go or reserve capacity storage. So there aren't any surprises. If you have 100 terabytes of storage, you know exactly what your bill is going to be at the end of every month. And you don't have to go to the CFO or the business office and explain that, you know what, something happened and we needed to egress data because we lost a server someplace and needed to rebuild it. Moving your data to Wasabi with Cloud Sync Manager allows you to have some predictability around your bill. Absolutely.
So with that, this seems pretty obvious. How does Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager help your customers save money?
That's it, right? So Wasabi's price of $5.99 US for a terabyte per month is the lowest you're going to see of any cloud storage provider. So if you already, or your customer, more importantly, has data in AWS S3 in North America, they're paying at least $23 a terabyte per month. And, that's, let's use a petabyte as an example. If you had a petabyte of data in AWS, which is a lot, that's $23,000 a month. If you had that petabyte in Wasabi, that's $6,000 a month. That's a $17,000 difference. So by moving your data from AWS to Wasabi, you're saving your customer $17,000 a month. They could either put that money in their pocket, or they could use that money to buy other IT tools or other IT services or more licenses. So the $17,000 it really goes a long ways on a per monthly basis, especially if you multiply that across a year, that's close to $20,000, $200,000 a year savings by moving that petabyte from AWS to Wasabi. That's a cost savings.
Absolutely. Let's move to segment 3. Take your business to the next level. How does Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager help partners diversify their business?
So our partners, our channel partners, everybody, within the Wasabi ecosystem, there are a lot of products and technologies that they touch on a daily basis. They have to know what the backup software is, independent software vendors. I got backup, I've got archive, I've got video surveillance in many cases. I've got PC endpoint security, I've got storage, I've got compute, I've got a lot of things that I need to worry about and know a little bit about, help my customer get through the day. A lot of those customers, may already have business or be doing business with the hyperscalers like AWS, Azure, or GCP. And those businesses, honestly may be a direct business. So when AWS announced their service in 2006, and for the most of their entire existence, they've been in the practice of disintermediating the channel partners, trying to get the end users to go direct with AWS. So many of our channel partners today, the Wasabi channel partners, they don't have a relationship with AWS where they generate money other than maybe services money, for when their customers go to AWS. There's no margin in it for them, or if there is a margin in it, it's really small, a couple percentage points. So customers that we have today selling Wasabi Cloud, Wasabi Cloud Storage, you get, of course, margin, because we are a channel company. We go through distribution and through channel partners and VARs and MSPs. So we're channel focused, making sure that our channel partners, make money when they spend time and effort using Wasabi Cloud Storage. Where's the big money sits? The big data sits in the cloud, right? It sits in AWS. So if you, as a channel partner, have a customer that has 100 terabytes, 500 terabytes, a petabyte, or whatever, sitting in AWS, that the customer is cutting a check every month to AWS for that storage. Why can't they be cutting a check to you if you move it to Wasabi, right? Wasabi's hot cloud storage is functionally the equivalent of AWS. It's got the 11 nines of durability, 4 nines of availability. It's got the same protection that AWS has. We've got regions all over the world like AWS has. We're just 80% less expensive. So customers who are spending, again, $23 a terabyte on a monthly basis for AWS, they could be saving a lot of money, and our channel partners could be generating revenue if they were selling Wasabi storage to their AWS customers. And so you would be able to diversify your portfolio if you added the ability for your customers to migrate from AWS to Wasabi.
How does it help attract new customers?
That's great. Great question. That's a good segue from my last answer. So new customers, I said there are thousands and thousands of customers worldwide that are sitting in AWS, and they've chosen AWS on their own. Most likely, odds are it wasn't the channel partner MSP that had sent them to AWS. It's a decision that they made on their own, and they may feel as though they're locked in because they can't afford to move from AWS to Wasabi. So so if I were on the sales side of things, and I knew where the big game was, and that all the big data is, sitting in AWS, Azure, Google, I'd go after those customers that have those AWS accounts, and I'd say, hey, listen, I've got a fantastic solution for you, cloud storage provider that offers 80% less expensive storage. It's functionally the equivalent of AWS, but I can save you on a petabyte, a month, $17,000 a month. Is that something you'd be interested in? I know I would be. At least I'd say, what do you mean? Tell me more, right? And so go after the accounts where customers have those large AWS installs. And if it's storage and the customer wants the cost savings and they want to be able to migrate that out of AWS and show that they can make a return on investment from migrating that, they can do that with the Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager and Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage.
David, finally, where can we learn more information?
Wasabi.com is always my first go-to place for information. And you go to wasabi.com, or if you're already been there and you want some more information, you want to talk to a person, sales@wasabi.com is the email address. It goes right to our sales team. You can peruse the website. You can learn about the different products: Wasabi Account Control Manager, Wasabi Cloud NAS, Wasabi Cloud Sync Manager, and Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage, of course. And then you can look at the use cases and our partners. So, if you say, well, I want to know, does this work with my Veeam, Rubrik, Commvault, Comprise, or anything else? We've got a partner page up there and a search button that allows you to type in any word and see if we do work with those guys and learn more about the use cases and the customers that like Wasabi. So he'll go to wasabi.com and then look at the products drop-down menu and then the solutions menu, and then reach out to your channel partner, your distributor, or directly to Wasabi sales reps.
David, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you at home for watching. For the Channel Company, I'm Kenna Johnson.